Welcome to Carvin Software's instructional videos of Staffing Complete. This video will provide a general overview of the Taxes and Deductions tab found within the Setup module. Start by navigating to the Setup module. The Setup module contains much of the foundation for Staffing Complete. Think of this module as the administration or the admin module. There should be a limited amount of people who have access to this module. If something is changed in this module, it has the potential to affect everything else in the database. Those with access to this module will set up permissions, check formats, taxes, calculations, control users, and make high-level changes. Keep in mind that many of the fields within the Setup module are for specific processes that shouldn't be changed or toggled without learning the functionality first. There are 11 tabs in the Setup module: Office, Users, Bank Account, Taxes and Deductions, Types, Formats, Checklist, Locality, Company, ACA, and Accrual Plans. Remember, all required fields on each tab are marked with an asterisk next to that field. The Taxes and Deductions tab is up next. The Taxes and Deductions tab is where payroll-related items reside. There are 16 sub-tabs: flat rate, hourly, gross, taxable, percentage of net, federal, state tax, county, city, school, SUDA, FUDA, SDI, FLI, work comp, and other. You can create new or modify existing deductions, federal, state, and local taxes, workers' compensation codes, and other items like health or dental insurance in these tabs. Each deduction type has different options available and will function according to the tab that it's under: flat rate, gross, percentage of net. Remember, all required fields will be marked with an asterisk. Let's review the most used fields. The name field is the title of the deduction. This is what will print on the check, if applicable, and will show up on all reports relating to deductions. The type is to select if the deduction is an employee deduction or a company deduction, also known as an employer deduction, for that specific item. The default rate box will be the number that needs to be deducted. The flat rate tab and the hourly deduction tab will need to be entered as a dollar amount. If you would like to deduct $5, you will enter a 5 in this field. All other sub-tabs are a decimal conversion of the percentage. For example, if you want to enter a deduction for 25%, you will need to enter 0.25 in the field. The W2 box/W2 code specifies the box and code reference when exporting W2 information, if applicable. The temp debit and temp credit fields specify the chart of accounts that will be used and are referenced on reports and in the closing module for items paid through the payroll module. These are generally for temporary employees. The account number and tax code are for informational purposes only and are typically used for unique situations. The internal debit and credit fields specify the chart of accounts that will be used and are referenced on reports and in the closing module for items paid through the internal payroll module. These are generally staff working for your company. The mandatory box, if checked, ensures that this specific deduction is applied to all personnel inserted in the system after the deduction is saved. If this box is checked, the deduction will not be listed on the personnel profile, but will be included upon processing payroll when taxes and deductions are calculated. If left unchecked, the deduction will have to be manually added to every personnel it is applicable for. The cost of goods box determines if the tax or deduction is classified in the COG category on the income statement report found in the reporting module. Pre-tax determines if the deduction is calculated and deducted before or after taxes. If the quote box is selected, the deduction will be used in calculations in the quotes module. If the Exclude Reimbursements box is checked, The deduction will not apply to payments made with the pay types reg, OT, sick, or DT of reimbursement payments. The exempt boxes on the right, if checked, will have the deduction taken out before the selected tax. The flat rate, hourly, and gross tabs all have the same options available for deduction creations, but are specific to that tab's logic. A flat rate deduction is where a flat dollar amount is deducted from a check. An hourly deduction will deduct a flat dollar amount per hour from a check. A gross deduction is deducted as a percentage of the gross check. This option also has the ability to exclude from reimbursements from the gross total when calculating the deduction. A taxable deduction is a percentage deduction based on what is taxable from the check, and a percentage of net will deduct a percentage of the check after taxes have been removed. The federal, state tax, county, city, and school tabs are location-specific taxes that apply to the address entered into the personnel's profile. As the software utilizes a third-party company to maintain taxes taken out automatically, typically no modifications are needed except state tax, which needs to be activated. Certain tabs allow you to specify a different rate or enter in a calc code to dictate your own locality-based taxes and to specify if it is a resident or workplace deduction. The SUTA and FUTA tabs allow you to activate and specify the rates used in the state and federal-based taxes for unemployment. These deductions also carry the option to make mandatory for state, which will include the item in payroll calculations and can check the quote box if you want to include the tax in quote calculations. SDI and FLI tabs are for state disability insurance and family leave insurance entries. The same variables and options for rates and state selections available on other deductions are listed here as well. The Work Comp tab is where workers' compensation codes are entered. There are two sub-tabs, Comp Info and Recommended Skills. The Comp Info sub-tab is where the code is set up. Remember, all required fields are marked with an asterisk. Additionally, all columns can be sorted in ascending or descending order if the column header is clicked. The code field is the code number given to you by your work comp insurance agent. The name field is the word description for the numeric code entered above. The type field is to indicate whether the code is a company, an employer deduction, or an employee deduction. All workers' compensation deductions are state-specific, so make sure you select the correct state, and then enter in the rate and the max. The debit credit specifies the chart of accounts that will be used and are referenced on reports and in the closing module for items paid through the payroll module. These are generally the temporary employees. The internal debit and credit specify the chart of accounts that will be used and are referenced on reports and in the closing module for items paid through the internal payroll module. These are generally staff working for your company. Once inserted into the setup module, the correct code can be applied in the customer module, job site tab, positions sub-tab when entering in position information. You can mark the deduction to have it calculate overtime or OT or workers' comp hours as regular or reg hours. The Recommended Skills tab allows you to list suggested skills associated when working underneath that specific position. The Other Taxes and Deductions tab is typically used for Essential Staff Care, ESC, insurance for entries. For more information regarding Essential Staff Care insurance, refer to the Essential Staff Care insurance documentation on our wiki. For more information regarding the Setup module, please visit our wiki at the address linked on the screen.